Next up, we return to European action as we face Danish outfit Viborg in the playoff round of the Thursday night Conference League. Kick-off for the home leg is 7:45 p.m, but beware, it's a rail strike day. So good luck in getting there, and indeed in getting home. Details for the away leg are to be confirmed at time of writing. So Viborg then, well, they've been going nearly as long as we have, or perhaps a few years longer, depending on how you view Thames Ironworks in the grand scheme of things. They were formed in 1896. Back in those days, they didn't have focus groups or marketing guys, so their nickname of the Greens is genuine, if slightly unimaginative. But all the better for that. In that time, they've won just the one proper trophy, taking the Danish Cup in the year 2000. They qualified for the Thursday night conference by finishing 7th in the Danish Superliga last time out. That was their first season back in the top flight since relegation back in 2017. A look at their recent history shows that they tend to have a year or two here and there in the Superliga, interspersed with a few more years in the First Division. Their league action started back in July, and with 5 played and having won 3 and lost 2, they currently sit in 4th place. Their journey to this stage of the competition saw them travel to Estonia, beating Suduva 1-0 in both legs, and then to the Faroe Islands, where they beat B36 3-0 at home and 2-1 away to set up this tie. Now, normally I go into some major load of details of our opponents using the research undertaken, as ever, by the wonderful Daisy. However, I understand that a full-blown stat attack is going to be published elsewhere on the site, and not being ones to duplicate efforts unnecessarily, we'll let others do the hard work on this one. Which is particularly handy as we've decided to sacrifice the next couple of weeks in undertaking some first-hand European research on the off chance that we qualify for the group stage of this Thursday night Conference League. Now, 3 Greek teams enter the competition, and whilst admittedly none of them survived to this stage, we've decided that Rhodes would be the perfect place from which to conduct our research, especially since our footballing plans for this part of the season were thrown into disarray by FIFA's forgetting to contact me concerning the dates for the World Cup, so I could arrange our research trip accordingly. So with that in mind, and with time running short, let's move on very quickly to the wild and wacky world of association football. And eyebrows have been raised in Sierra Leone, where Golf Football Club qualified for the so-called Super 10 phase of the Sierran Second Tier League by beating Kokima Lebanon 3-1, whilst their closest challengers Rangers, not that one, went down 1-0 to Lubembu United. So far so mundane, except for these 2 fixtures were replays, the previous matches having raised some suspicion amongst the more observant onlooker. Golf had triumphed over Lebanon 91-1 in the previous attempt to play the match. Interestingly, with 35 minutes left to play, Golf were only 10-1 up, meaning that they were rattling in 2 goals a minute in the latter stages. Rangers, not that one for their part, kept a clean sheet on that particular day as they beat Lubumbu 95-0. All 4 teams were suspended for some reason, but the suspension was lifted following the findings of the regional FA, which, at the time of writing, still have yet to be made public. Other inquiries are taking place, and the CAF and FIFA are involved. Expect FIFA to take a year looking at the footage and proudly announce that further inquiries should follow on the grounds that Golf's 87th goal was clearly offside. Elsewhere, we noticed a bit of disquiet when the news pages of this very site announced the impending nuptials of Chairman David Sullivan to somebody whose name eludes me but is probably already a director of the club. The event is said to be a double wedding involving serial Scouse disaster area Kerry Katona, and someone else whose name also eludes me. Now, the whole thing may be a joke or publicity stunt or something, but just to be on the safe side, I'd like to point out that I've got a chiropodist's appointment that day, whenever it is. Seriously though, Mr. Sullivan, weddings are expensive things, especially when it involves persons of such taste and refinement as this one does. You don't have to stint on these things, but times are hard, and you wouldn't want to run out of carver. So I thought it occurs, might this not be a good time to liquidate a few assets? For example, or I don't know, say some shares in a football club? And so to us. Well, I want to talk too much about Sunday's match. I'll save that for the Brighton preview. However, I can't let this opportunity pass without having a few words about East Midlands Railway. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to use the few words I would like to. Travel to Nottingham on Sunday morning was a complete and utter shambles. The 9 a.m. train was 10 coaches long. So far, so good. However, this consisted of 2 individual 5-coach trains with no corridor connection between the two. Such an arrangement requires a second train manager to sit in the second set of coaches. And we were told, due to a mix-up, a second train manager was something someone had forgotten or otherwise failed to book. This meant that we had 10 carriages worth of people crammed into 5 coaches, with no air conditioning. The train was delayed further while sufficient numbers sacrificed themselves by taking a later train. The promise of a second train manager at Kettering just added to the hot air that we were having to breathe, as he or she decided to give it a swerve. Hey, and guess who got the blame for the delay? Yep, it was us, the football supporters. This train has been delayed by overcrowding caused by a football match, was the official line that was being peddled about, rather than this train has been delayed by our inability to run so much as a whelk stall, never mind a railway, which should have been the actual explanation. Railway company has been asked for comment, though nothing has been received at time of writing. And watch this space. On the pitch for the Viborg match, we will have changes enforced upon us. Cresswell suspended for 1 match following the ludicrous red card received against Eintracht last season, whilst Rice is also suspended for both legs for having informed the referee in no uncertain terms just how ludicrous said decision was. The manager will also be banished to the stands for kicking a ball at a ball boy. So let's move on to the prediction then. Well, it's a game we ought to win, obviously, but we've yet to hit the ground running this season, which should instill a note of caution. As ever, these matches are as much a matter of attitude as anything else. However, there was enough evidence on Saturday to suggest that goals are there with just a minor change in luck. I think there'll be enough on show for us to progress to the group stages. So the £2.50, which no doubt will be the full extent of my refund from East Midlands Railway, will instead go on us to win 3-1 at home and 2-1 away. Enjoy the game.
So we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.